everyone. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Paranomaly Beyond Disclosure. We are a weekly podcast dedicated to sincere, in-depth investigations into the paranormal, supernatural, and the metaphysical, with a special focus on the UFO topic. We take a sincere, analytical approach, thoroughly evaluating each case and its implications. Our discussions go beyond the surface as we engage with researchers, investigators, and experiencers to explore the deeper layers of their testimonies. We strive for high-resolution analysis, carefully examining evidence, patterns, and perspectives that challenge conventional thinking. If you're looking for a podcast that seeks deeper understanding, you're in the right place. Please be sure to like and subscribe and follow to receive notifications when new content is made available. You can also visit us at www.paranomalypodcast.com for more content and information, including all our social links. Thank you again for watching or listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode of Paranomaly Beyond Disclosure. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in tonight. Tonight we have Jules. This is a very good episode for me because she is a very interesting person, and I definitely wanted to get her on here. So tonight we step into a different kind of mystery, not one defined by sightings, missing time, or unexplained encounters, but by inner landscapes that shape who we are, and the invisible forces that guide us long before we even recognize their presence. So our guest tonight is someone who lives at the crossroads of intuition, energy, and human transformation. Julie, or Jules, has carried a connection to spirit since childhood, a quiet knowing that never left her even when the world expected her to silence it. And over time, she shaped that sensitivity into disciplined and powerful path as an astrologer, a pranic healer, a psychic medium, tarot and oracle reader, and holistic psychic therapist. My titles can't capture what she does. Jules works within the hidden architectures of the mind, the residual the body carries, and the symbolic currents that shape a lifelong before awareness catches up. Her work blends trauma, insight, energy, manipulation, and the harder edges of spiritual science to cut through illusion and expose what lies underneath. Jules, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Todd. That was such a nice introduction. I don't know what else to say. That was such a good introduction. That's pretty much what I do. I mean, I've been connected to spirit since I was really little. I've been able to see and communicate with them. And I had this profound spiritual awakening. I kind of shut it down when I was growing up, just because I felt like I was very different from everybody else, and they didn't really understand I had these gifts and abilities that a lot of people didn't really get. So I kind of closed that off for a long time and quieted the messages until I had a profound spiritual awakening in 2018 after having both of my kids. And then it just came at me full blast. So I couldn't shut it out anymore. I had to listen.
So tell me, because I've talked to you before on another podcast, but tell us a little about how I know you was very young when you realized that you had gifts. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I remember being really little. I was probably 5 or 6 years old, having a conversation with my older sister. And I asked her, "Do you see colors and numbers?" And she looks at me, she's like, "What are you talking about? Do I see colors and numbers?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess that's not a normal thing to see." It's called synesthesia. But anyways, I just noticed that I was able to connect with spirit. I used to have these prophetic dreams when I was little. And my dad would tell me, I would tell him about these dreams that I had, and he would tell me that those were people that, like my great grandma that I'd never met and I'd never really heard about, that she came to me in a dream, and a lot of different things that I would see would end up coming to fruition. They would end up happening. And so it's been kind of like that since I was really little. I would see spirit, I would hear them. They would talk to me, and I would deliver messages to people, and it was just kind of, I was just kind of an odd kid, you know?
Yes, yes. And that's people don't sometimes realize when things happen to them to where they can bring out their gifts and talents. But you sort of kind of remember this stuff when you was young. So with that, when did you start to realize that you were helping people?
You know what? I don't think I noticed so much when I was younger. It was really after I became an adult and I had my kids. So I have two young neurodivergent kids. My son is on the autism spectrum, and my daughter has ADHD. And I view neurodivergency a little bit different. I feel like it's, those people tend to be very spiritually gifted. I would be considered neurodivergent as well. And I noticed that as soon as I really tapped into the gifts and I was able to listen to the messages that spirit was giving me, I would share those messages with people. And I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine that I went to high school with, and she was sitting in my living room one day, and her mom had passed. She had died of cancer when we were in high school. And this is, fast forward 15 years later. And she's sitting in my house, and she had just had a baby. And as I'm having a conversation with her, I can see right next to the baby is her mom standing over the baby. And I've never met her mom before. I don't actually have any idea what she looked like, but I could see the features. And as I'm kind of looking off to the side, talking to my friend, but I can't miss that spirit is standing right there. So I'm like, did your mom have like a very kind of like angular features? She had kind of like an angular nose, a little bit more petite, or was her hair kind of shaped like this? It was kind of like medium length, a little bit like this. And I start describing her mom, and she's like, yeah, what, why, have you seen a picture of my mom? I'm like, no, but she's standing next to your son. And
Wow.
like, what? And I'm like, yeah, your mom is standing next to your son. She's watching over him. And she breaks down and she starts crying because she knows that I've never seen her. I've never seen a picture of her. And she was really sad that her mom wasn't able to meet her son, right? But I was able to give her the message that her mom was actually with her, and she was watching over him, that she helped her to be able to conceive the child. Not, well, but spiritually she was able to kind of move things around to coordinate that to be able to happen, and that she was with them. So it was a really cathartic moment. My friend broke down into tears, and she's like, I can't believe you're telling me this, and it was at that moment that I realized, like, wow, this is actually something really powerful, and I should not keep it to myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that was when how old was you when that happened? Approximately.
That was probably, let's see, around 2019, maybe.
Okay, so over all that span from being a child and up, is that when you really started to realize that you had?
Well, I always knew that I had these abilities. I just knew that it wasn't really common, that not everybody had them. And I was kind of looked at as like a little bit strange or odd, or people just kind of didn't really know what to make of the information that I was sharing. So I decided to kind of shut that down and close it off because I didn't want to feel outcasted. But as I got older and after I had my kids, my gifts just came back full force. Like I couldn't quiet the noise. I couldn't stop seeing things. And so in about 2018, I just had to share the message, I had to start talking about it.
Right. Now, let me ask this question. Now, as you're helping people understand their energetic blueprint, for example, uh, what does that mean when you start to analyze somebody? Like you walk up to somebody, like a lot of mediums and that they kind of like have voices talking to them all the time, and
Mhm.
psychics as well. How do you like differentiate those between who needs the help and who doesn't?
Well,
Especially if you're talking to somebody like a friend, or you meet somebody and you're picking up on all these different things. How do you sort it all out?
Well, when spirit wants to relay a message to somebody, they get very loud and they get very insistent. So they'll say something to me and I hear it. And as the person is talking to me, I can't get it out of my head. I can't get the thing that they're telling me to stop. And then they'll say it over and over, and it gets louder and louder until I literally can't make out anything that the person is saying anymore until I deliver the message. And so I don't necessarily know if the person is always ready to hear it, but I know spirit knows. So I trust in them and their guidance, and I just deliver the message when I can't quiet it anymore, you know?
Yeah, and that would be tough because you know, I've talked to people and they get these all these different voices. How do you know that the voice that you're talking to is really the one you're supposed to be talking to?
Um, well, I would say that they kind of come very prominently. It's like if you were in a room full of people and then the person that's standing closest to you or is yeah, basically the person standing closest to you, that's the one that I listen to because they're coming and they're making it a point to be able to like give me this message or that I need to share this message. So really it's kind of difficult to explain if you don't have the ability, but I kind of see and feel spirit almost like a genealogy tree, like a family tree. So like I can tell if it's the mom or the dad based on the side that they're on or the level up that they're at, or if it's a brother or sister or somebody in the same, they're on like the same level. It's kind of interesting, but spirit, they tell me things, but I can just feel them, you know?
Okay.
So it's one
So
of the ways they communicate is more through feeling.
okay, all right. Now I want to step back just a minute. You said that in 2018 you had a spiritual breakthrough, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, you said that everything came full blast, and in 2018, after your children were born, what triggered that awakening? Was it an emotional thing, a spiritual, physical?
No, I mean, I can tell you exactly what happened. I woke up from a dead sleep in the middle of the night at 2:30 in the morning, and I sat up in bed, and I had what some would consider a dream, but I had a memory of how I died in a previous lifetime. It's like it just came back to me, and then all of the dots suddenly connected, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's how I died." And I had this remembering, I had this knowing, and it's like it was like a light switch flipped and going from being kind of like a zombie before to where it's like, you go through life but you're not really conscious, and you're not really like conscious that, hey, if I do this thing or I do this action, it's going to have a reaction. It was going from being like comatose or like a zombie to suddenly awake and conscious and aware that, hey, my actions have equal or opposite reactions. There's cause and effect. I am in control of my life. It was crazy, but it was literally like a light switch going from being off to on.
And you said you died.
In a previous lifetime, it's how I died. Yeah.
Do you remember anything about the previous lifetime?
I remember exactly how I died, and it's actually prevalent to some circumstances that have happened in my life. There's carryover in there. So it's like lessons that I didn't learn in the previous lifetime or baggage that I had from the previous lifetime. I have that in this lifetime to be able to work through. So I do remember it was around turn of the century in this lifetime. And I remember being in what seems like kind of a circus or tented off area, and there were a ton of people that were laying in hospital beds, and they were strapped down, and they were like zombies, like walking around like literal zombies. And the doctors had me on this gurney that I was strapped down, And I kept saying, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. And it was like a mental asylum or something that they had taken me to. And they injected me with, what was it called? What was the medication? I can't remember the medication, but they injected me with something and it caused me to overdose and I died from that.
Wow.
But I died screaming like I'm not crazy. Like, and that is very prevalent to when I was growing up, having these gifts and abilities where I'm asking my sister, do you see numbers and colors? And she's like, what are you talking about? And then it made me feel like I was like weird and different and awkward. So I kind of shut that down because I didn't want to be considered crazy, you know, or like something was off with me, because a lot of times society kind of looks at spiritually gifted people as being mentally ill when it's really not that, you know?
Right. Wow. That's crazy. And that was the turn of the century.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know what you did at all? I mean,
I don't know exactly what I did in that lifetime. I get bits and pieces sometimes from previous lifetimes. Like I know that I had a really strong presence in the Egyptian era, and I literally still wear my makeup like that, actually, you know, so there's like little carryovers. But it's just, you know, periods of time that like really resonate with me. And also like the Victorian era, it just really resonates with me. I feel very connected to it. I feel very connected to the furniture. You know, it's just, I know that I've had lifetimes there. So I get bits and pieces, but I don't always remember the whole life, you know?
have you always been fascinated with, hold on one second.
Yeah.
Have you always been fascinated with Egypt?
Absolutely. Yes.
Do you know what the significance of that is? Like,
Um,
in a time line or anything like that? Like, why what draws you to Egypt? I mean, I myself get drawn to Egypt, ancient Egypt, you know.
mhm.
I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's just it's like it calls me every now and then.
Yeah, no, I had prominent lifetimes in Egypt. I was an astrologer to the pharaohs in Egypt. I helped with
Oh,
hieroglyphics. So one of my mentors has told me many of the lifetimes that I've experienced. So not all of it is my own memory, but I've had people along the way to be able to give me tidbits of information. Then I remember a little bit more, but I know that I had prominent lifetimes in Egypt.
wow. That is awesome.
Yeah. So you probably did too. Maybe we knew each other back then.
I don't know, be honest with you, but it just like calls me every time I look at pictures, and I have friends on Facebook that actually live in Egypt, and it's just so fascinating. I look at that and I'm like, my brain just swirls with like, how did we do this? How did man create this? Or will help with aliens or what have you. But it's very fascinating.
Absolutely.
It kind of reminds me as well as a lot of times I feel called to Native American as well. And I'm not sure if my spirit is just that is the time periods, those old ways is what I have in common with it. Uh, because I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. So as a spiritual person, I kind of do things the old ways before Christianity came about. So we're going
Right.
back to the pagan things, but yes, I kind of feel called that way.
I mean, my take on that is that you've spent lifetimes in those areas. That's you know, when I feel something and I just really resonate with it, I know that I've spent lifetimes there. And same, Native American is something that or being Native American is something that I've always gravitated to, but I actually am Native American. So I'm about an eighth Native American, Cherokee, and Seminole. So I know that I've
Oh,
got medicine woman lifetimes, you know, so it's just still in my blood. I would say it probably is in yours too, if you feel that connection.
absolutely. And you know, it's just like everything that I have, uh, my gifts have been passed down. Uh, a lot of people think that how can I put this? Let me just go back here for a second. I know, for example, like I'm an empath. and I can pick up on everything. I can pick up on people's moods and if they're happy or sad. I can also pick that up if I walk into a house and nobody else is there. If I walk into a patch of woods, I get the feelings. I know that something happened or it's just peaceful. So that, and then being a paranormal investigator uh, for my entire life, pretty much, I've always been drawn to that as well.
Mhm.
So I find more peace across the veil. I find more peace in darkness than I do in the light.
Mhm.
And I'm not quite sure why that is neither, but that's just something that I've always been like. Just like, for example, I do water scrying.
Oh,
So
nice.
in the water, and this has been going on forever, water scrying, even back in the days of pharaohs and before, they were looking in water, and they would see images and try to translate that. And I'm the same, just I have it a little bit better because I can use a bowl of water, visualize, talk to the spirits, ask them to show me whatever it is that they're looking at, and it will come up in that water. But I use my phone to capture the images. So it's very fascinating to me, and it's something that I love. But being strange is my thing. I'm just extremely, I always say I'm extremely, how do I want to put it? Misunderstood. And I'm very misunderstood. And it's probably because of being an empath and gravitating to talking with spirits and things of that nature. And I didn't mean to get us all off course. I just
No, no.
kind of got wrapped up in the moment with the Egyptian stuff, and then it just kind of spiraled.
No, I mean, I think that's fascinating. And, you obviously have those gifts carried over from previous lifetimes as well, right? And it's probably part of your purpose. I know you've got that Aries energy in you, which is very pioneering and it's very a leader quality. They're very innovative, right? So you have the ability to pioneer this new information, being able to be a bridge between the spirit world and the reality that we all see and live in. You're a bridge for that, but you have these innovative leadership ideas, so you're supposed to set off trailblazer and do something of your own, so you're supposed to teach others, right? So it makes sense that you would have gifts that are maybe a little bit misunderstood because you're a trailblazer, right? So it's like somebody's got to lead the way, somebody's got to start that. And if it's a new concept or a new idea, it's going to be foreign, it's going to be misunderstood. So I understand that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's true for so many people. A lot of people, they themselves are misunderstood
Mhm.
because they have gifts, but they don't understand it. And I think that as I watch myself uh, being oversensitive, um, over talkative, over explaining, uh, I find myself that I'm definitely not alone. But I just gravitate towards things differently. Uh, at first, it's got to be a childhood trauma
Mhm.
because oversharing, oversensitivity, how I was brought up, could definitely have things to do with it. But I can remember um, back to when I was about 4,
Mhm.
down there, 3, 4. Um, I grew up in Florida, so I was a typical little blonde beach kid with no shoes, running around trying to pick up hermit crabs and things like that. But also, I can remember I used to have nightmares bad nightmares, and I would scream. But the problem is I could nothing come out. And I kind of now I sum it up to I don't know if you're familiar with Abbott and Costello, but Abbott and Costello was this. It was a comedy with two guys, uh, and one when he got super scared, he couldn't spit it out. He couldn't call for his buddy. It just you could hear voice, you could hear things, but you could not make out what he was saying. And that's exactly what I had. And then I can remember a very young stage in my life where I was swimming somehow in my uncle's pool, who lived directly next door to us. And like I said, I'm young, 4, 3. And I remember I am on the steps to the deep end. Okay, you know how they get the steps that come up.
Yep.
And when I get down into, I'm up to my chest, I pushed myself away. I had nothing to help me stay afloat. And what happened was I breathed under the water. I could
Oh.
breathe. And as I'm looking up now, I'm under the water and I'm looking up, and you know how you can't really see, you could see figures,
Mm-hmm.
shadows. I could see 2 figures. Okay. And they were dark. They were dark, shadowed figures. And when I guess I was kicking my feet and I got close enough to that ladder and grabbed a hold of the ladder, and I come out and they were gone. There was nobody there, nothing.
Okay.
So for whatever reason in my dumb brain, I'm like, I'm going to do that again. So I did it again, and I'm breathing under the water again.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I see these 2 shadowy figures. And I don't know how long I couldn't have been under there that long, but I ended up coming back out and no one was there. And that's just the progression of stuff that I had happen throughout my entire life and that I could keep going with. And I wrote timelines down and everything. And I'm like, how strange for me to witness all this stuff. But yes. And I think that all those things have something to do with some kind of traumas. I know that coming back from Florida, we moved to Pennsylvania. I was, I believe, 6
Mm-hmm.
and a half, almost 7. And we get here, and a couple months after we get to Pennsylvania, we have the Johnstown flood. And it was devastating. So I was right in the middle of that. So PTSD from that, watching cars and houses and people screaming, and their houses and cars are going down this river, and this is real. You can look this up online and you can see about that. So I just think that there's something with because people say, hey, you choose who you're going to be, who your parents are going to be.
Yep.
And I think to myself, wait a minute. I don't know if that carries weight, because why would I want to come back and be stuck in the middle of a flood and bad things happening and all this? You know what I mean? If you can pick your parents, you would think, because you're waiting, you're just like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
try to find out if something's better or not.
Well, I mean, I kind of look at it like I do feel like you pick your name, you pick your parents, you pick your birthday. And I feel like a lot of that is because you choose the parents that are going to help you with the lessons that you're meant to learn, that your soul is meant to learn in that lifetime, right? So maybe you needed to experience a great deal of trauma because you are a healer, right? And a lot of times healers will go through a lot of really difficult things, because how can you appreciate the good if you haven't experienced the bad, right? How are you able to, if you know what loss feels like, and you know what devastation feels like, and you know what that hurt feels like, you don't want other people to feel that, right? So you're naturally going to do what you can to try and make sure that other people don't feel that pain. They don't feel that loss. They don't feel that tragedy, right? So if you chose the parents that you did because they're going to instill those lessons in you, it's going to get you to the point that you need to be at in your lifetime to be able to accomplish whatever your soul is here to do. And I would say that, I don't know exactly how old you are, but I would say that it would be likely that your Chiron is probably in Leo. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's the area of life that we've experienced the most wounding from, and we have the greatest opportunity to heal from. With that being in Leo, it's not being able to shine, or your parents not having, like, they didn't understand you, right? Because you were very different than what they grew up with, right? You broke the mold. You're not supposed to be like everybody else. And they just didn't really know how to handle it, right? They didn't know how to handle that type of energy because it's not something that they experienced. And our kids, they say that we're here to teach them. No, that's not even close to accurate. Our kids teach us. They teach us. They're more involved than we are. Our kids are more involved than we are. We learn lessons through them, right? It's not the other way around. So you're creating lessons for your parents to be able to work through because of whatever happened in their lifetime, right? And when you have that connection and you've experienced that loss and you have that level of empathy, you use that to be able to help other people. And Todd, we've been connected for a really long time on Facebook, and I've been able to see your post and I've been able to see your journey. And there's a lot of things that you have experienced, but you have such a great sensitivity to spirit and to help people. And I don't personally feel like you would have that if you didn't go through the difficult things that you did, because it gave you that sense of appreciation or that sense of wanting to do the right thing or wanting to be able to help people. If your life was, rainbows and butterflies and you didn't have any of the difficult things happen to you, how would you know how to lead anybody? How would you know how to heal anybody if you've never experienced that yourself? You would have no room to speak. A lot of times people that have the ability to guide others or the ability to heal others, it's because they have the personal experience to be able to tell you, well, I went through all this shit and I went through all this stuff and it was really hard. But because of that, I learned something. And I want you to be able to not have to experience that loss. So I'm going to teach you to try and help you avoid experiencing the same difficult things. Or, we're the lighthouses to be able to help people through the storm because we've already gotten through the storm,
Right. And that's very important to me, especially. I am definitely someone that I take things that happen to me, like being oversensitive, and I break them down, and then I put them out there so people can see that they're not alone, that there's others that do that. It's tough, it wears a toll. I have tons of weight that I carry, and not just from eating. I have tons of weight.
Well, did you know that actual weight gain is literally a trauma response? It's you're energetically and spiritually trying to shield yourself. You're shielding yourself because you don't want to be seen, because you're going through things and you're processing through things. So there's actually a spiritual component to weight gain, right? You're shielding yourself, you're protecting yourself at that point. And one of the things that I've noticed with you as well, like, you have all of these unique gifts and they're amazing gifts. I feel like maybe you just haven't found your tribe yet, because you still will say things like, oversharing. It's not oversharing. If you have the right crowd, if you're in the right space, in the right place, and around the right people, you're not going to feel outcasted. You're not going to feel like being highly sensitive is a negative thing, because it's not. It's a gift. You literally have gifts, and they're gifts to the world. They're not deficits. There's not anything wrong with you. It's actually something great about you. You just have to find the right people to be around to be able to help that grow and expand.
Well, oversharing for me, it works this way. I think that because I'm misunderstood, I need to explain everything in detail for people,
Mhm.
uh, so that they can understand who I am. It's crazy, but that is something that I do quite often because
Have
I
a
look at
trauma
how
response.
yes, I look at how people look at me. I I try to figure them out, which I know a lot of times I will completely read somebody wrong and think that they're thinking about me, or maybe I did something wrong, or so then I got to go in and I got to explain everything exactly how I see it. It's such a headache.
Well, let me ask you this. What would it feel like if you said whatever you felt you needed to say or overshared whatever you felt you needed to, and then you didn't feel the need to explain yourself, that it's okay if they don't understand you? How
Well,
would that feel to you?
then I don't feel like I have made my point. Because I am so sensitive that now I'm going to be like, well, maybe I didn't explain it good enough.
Well, let me put it like this. So, if you think about the fact that you are a certain radio station frequency, right? We'll say you're 94.9. It's a radio station I know from the Bay Area. Say you're
Okay.
speaking at 94.9 frequency and you're talking to somebody that is not on your level and they're at 93.3. No matter what you say, no matter how you explain it, they are never going to understand what you're saying. They're never going to hear you because they are vibrating at a different frequency.
Right.
So I would say to challenge you to look at it from the position that they're not misunderstanding you because of how you're communicating it. They're not understanding you because they're not at the same frequency that you're on. They're vibrating at a very different frequency. So no matter how loud or like accurately or precisely that you explain whatever it is that you're trying to explain, they're literally never going to hear you because they're not tuned into the same channel.
Right. And I consider everything like a flaw anyway. And I understand that these flaws that I feel like I have, they're not really a flaw. It's a it's a defense. And I think this is where I get my having to feel the need to explain thoroughly myself. If someone accuses me of something, or if somebody asks me something, automatically feel that I'm being accused. So with that, then I have to explain myself. So it's yeah. I think it's from being unseen
Mm-hmm.
when I was young, and all this stuff. It's like a wounded child. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not easy. I've been writing a thing called The Misunderstood Soul, when survival becomes your second self. And a lot of these things are so deeply rooted. I'm sure my mother had a lot to do with things because uh, she she didn't have the confidence in me apparently as I was growing up, even though I could do things like if the sink would break, she would think that my dad had to do it because he's the only one that could fix the sink.
But you realize that the lack of confidence that she has in you is not actually about you. It's that she lacks confidence in herself and her ability to parent you. So
Well,
she doesn't trust herself. It's not that she doesn't trust you, it's that she doesn't trust herself. And then she projects her own wounding onto you. It's not about you. It's not actually about you. How people treat you has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them.
right. And those kind of things. And then I was always questioned on what I was doing or why I'm doing this, or so that is, I think, where the oversharing and having to overshare everything, or just come right out with it before I'm even asked, because I know I'm going to get asked something.
Yeah.
So, and my mom's no longer with us. She's passed on, her and my dad both. But I don't feel that I had that with my dad. Me and my dad got along super well, but I got questioned a lot from my mother. And it is yeah, it's not easy, and I understand that it begins when you're a child, for all these different traumas, and then they start coming out, and some people get completely lost. um so you start adapting, and that's the best thing that I can explain it as, is um if I can just explain it enough, uh maybe you won't get me wrong. Maybe I won't be in trouble. Maybe I won't be abandoned. So oversharing became my shield.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an emotional precision, is what I call it. It's not a chaotic thing. It's just trying to. But
It's,
anyway,
it's
that's
that,
just,
yeah, no, it's that armor. You're trying to protect yourself. But I think that the deeper thing to look at is, I mean, your book is going to be able to help a lot of other people that feel the same as you, that feel misunderstood. I have no doubt that the book will have impact in helping others. But the thing that I would say to look at is, in knowing that that is your shield, is to ask yourself, why do I feel like I need to be understood by other people? Why do I feel like other people need to understand me?
so the need for constant clarification.
Okay, so is that a seeking validation?
Uh, I'm not sure, because somewhere my words have been twisted, somewhere, in any context of me talking or what have you. So this is where the oversharing comes back, because now I have to re-say it because somebody didn't understand it or someone twisted it, and I need to make it right.
Mm-hmm.
I have to make it right. It cannot be. It has to be. That's just all there is to it. So I think that's another reason why I do it. I want to make sure that the point that I'm trying to make is perfect, and how I'm saying it is understood, and things like that. So people do not confuse anything I'm saying.
Yes, and that all stems back to your mom not understanding you and not trusting herself, which projected onto not trusting you. And then you internalize that, and then feel like you can't trust yourself. You can't trust your decisions. You can't trust your judgment. You can't trust your ability to communicate your point. So I know we're
Right.
getting kind of heavy and deep into that, but it's just something to be able to look at. And a lot of times when I work with clients on a psychic holistic therapy, I will look at their chart. I'll look at where their Chiron is. I'll look at where their South Node is. And then I'll look at where their Pluto is. And then I'm able to kind of see, okay, here's the wounding. Here's the core wounding. Here's the trauma. And then if we want to heal from that, then we're going to go towards the North Node, and we're going to look at the opposite point of Pluto to be able to know what direction to head, to be able to have the most fulfilling life, to be able to heal from this, right? So that's kind of an example. What we just did there is a little bit of an example of what I would do. Now, of course, I don't have your chart in front of me. I've not seen your chart before, so I don't know exactly where they are. But based on what you're saying, I can pick up key points that, because I have a background in psychology as well, and because I have a pretty good understanding of people, I'm able to look at that, and it's like, okay, well, it's like blaringly in front of my face of like, okay, this is the thing. This is the thing this person is working on. And to be able to point that in, and just for something to think about. It's just food for thought. I'm just planting the seed, you know?
No, no, and that's fine. I think that in the grand scheme of things, I think that I just need someone to say, "I understand you and you make sense."
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I'm so misunderstood. It's just it's crazy. But I'm not
Well,
gonna keep going up because I could go on forever. I'm like a
Well,
I'm
I
a
mean,
mi-
the way that you articulate it, it totally makes sense why you feel the way that you do and why you go through the cycles that you're going through and your communication pattern. Like it's valid and it does make sense. Your point is very clear. Like I can follow your train of thought. Like I understand exactly what you're saying. So I think it's just that you maybe are meeting people that are not necessarily on your level or vibrational frequency, that they just maybe don't necessarily get the message. But that's not a you thing. That's just it is what it is thing.
right, right. So now walk us through some of the things that you do. I know you do some different things, and I'd
Mhm.
like you to walk me through the things that you do.
Okay. So I am an astrologer. I
Okay.
am a tarot and oracle reader. I am a pranic healing practitioner. I am also a Reiki healer, and I'm a psychic medium. I also do holistic psychic therapy, and I do a spiritual mentorship program.
So when you talk to somebody, do you use all these practices together to figure somebody out?
Well, it's not necessarily that I'm trying to figure somebody out, but I can use whichever. It's basically all of the different modalities. It's like I'm pulling information from the same place. I'm just using a different tool to get there. But it's all the same stuff to me. So a lot of times people will have like a preference of what modality they want me to use. Like they want me to use tarot and oracle cards are very common. I get a lot of people that ask for tarot readings. I actually just had somebody message me for one since we've been on this podcast. But it's just kind of whatever medium that person can hear the message from, whatever tool they're comfortable with to be able to deliver the message, because it's all the same to me. I can use tarot and be able to deliver the message. I can look at your astrology chart and I can deliver the message. I can do pranic healing and tap into your energy and check out your chakras, and then I can get the information. So spirit will tell me things like I get information. So it's like a variety of ways that I can do it. It's just kind of whatever the client is comfortable with or whichever method they prefer. But I'll use whatever I need to be able to deliver the message. Sometimes I mix it up.
Right. Now, name what you do again one more time. Because there
I
was one in
do
there.
astrology. I
Yep.
do tarot and oracle readings. I'm a pranic healing practitioner.
That's the one.
Okay.
What explain to me what that is.
Okay. So
Pranic healer.
prana is life force energy. Okay. So with pranic healing, it's a no touch form of energy healing using prana, life force energy, to be able to tap into the chakras and the aura and clear out, like pull out the stuck thoughts and emotions that cause the physical manifestation of symptoms. So when you have a blockage in your chakras, meaning that you have all of these thoughts or emotions that are spinning around really fast and you're not releasing them, you're not talking about them, you're not writing them out, you're not feeling those emotions, they will create blockages. And those energetic blockages cause physical symptoms, right? So if you have a back heart chakra blockage, right, which is forgiveness or self-love associated with the past, the back chakras are the past. If there is feelings of forgiveness that you're holding on to that you haven't released, it may cause you to have difficulty or physical symptoms in your lungs, meaning you could have anxiety and then it's difficult to breathe. You could hyperventilate, but anxiety is associated with a back heart chakra blockage. Or your solar plexus is your personal power, your self-confidence, and its fear. Solar plexus in the front is associated with the present, and either you feel like you've lost your personal power, or you're afraid of something, you're worried about something, or you have a fear associated with something. And if that is blocked, it controls the digestive system. So you'll have constipation or the alternative to constipation. It's kind of like if you were to go in front of an audience with 1,000 people and you had to give a speech, okay? So right before you go out and you have to give this speech, you're concerned, you're worried that, oh my gosh, what if I mess this up? I'm so nervous, there's so many people. So your solar plexus chakra starts spinning really, really fast. It starts overexerting itself. And if you don't release that energy, what happens? You have a physical symptom. You have to go to the bathroom, right? That's an example. That's how the chakras work.
So is that aligning with like is that aligning with like anxiety, depression? Because like if you go out to talk to somebody, public speaking, and you get super nervous, well, that's anxiety as well.
Yeah.
So all these things they can cause problems.
They cause physical symptoms, yes.
So, like, for example, going out on a thing, you might have to use the restroom or because you get nervous. Is it the same way for depression?
Absolutely. Depression is usually a crown chakra blockage, or it could be associated with the root chakra. So the crown chakra is the one, it's your connection to spirit. And if you, it's your ability to hear your intuition or be able to like get your intuitive messages from spirit. If you have a crown chakra blockage, you could have different psychological symptoms, mental illness. You could have headaches, migraines, difficulty sleeping, all sorts of things.
So let me ask this question. How do you fix these chakras?
So I would suggest pranic healing. There's different energy healing that you can do. I feel like pranic healing is really effective. I'm also trained in Reiki, but I don't personally prefer that because Reiki is the equivalent. If you would take like a sandwich bag and you fill it with hair gel, okay, and then you put a little bit of food coloring in there, and then you seal the bag. So Reiki is the equivalent of pushing down on the bag to be able to manipulate the energy that's inside the bag and move it around to clear the blockages. Okay. Pranic healing is the equivalent of taking that bag, opening it up, and scooping the gel out and throwing it in the trash. So, whereas one redistributes the energy to clear the blockages, but the energy is still stuck in your vessel, versus pranic healing, where it literally pulls that energy out and releases it from the body. So you feel energetically and physically lighter. You feel happier. Your mood is elevated. You have a pep in your step, and you don't feel so physically heavy and weighed down.
So what is the difference between the Reiki and the other one there?
The Reiki and pranic healing. So
yes.
Reiki is the equivalent of manipulating the energy or moving the energy that's in the body to be able to clear blockages, but the energy remains in the physical body and it remains in the auric field. Pranic healing pulls the energy out. So a practitioner will literally remove that negative energy from the chakras and from the physical body. And then you will have a release. It could be anywhere between immediate and 5 days later. You have that physical release and that energetic release where you either cry it out, you'll scream it out, or you'll move it out. And then you feel lighter. So it literally removes that stuck energy. It pulls it out rather than leaving it in the body to be, it pulls it out. So it's kind of like if you have a cup that has a bunch of smoke in it, right? You put a cup over a match and it has a bunch of smoke in it. If you use Reiki, it keeps the smoke in the cup. And pranic healing is literally lifting the cup and releasing the smoke.
So what is the metaphor for the smoke?
Negative or polluted energy.
Polluted. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's like all of those emotions that, like, if somebody got hurt or somebody hurt your feelings and you're really sad, but you don't want to cry, so you hold it in and you push it down, that creates blockages. So pranic healing will pull that energy out to come out to the surface. So you will literally physically cry it out, and then it's no longer trapped in your body. It's no longer stuck. And so you feel lighter.
Now, is that more like a psychology thing as well? Like you understand where this is happening. Let's say someone with that lost a family member, and it's causing them all kinds of havoc with their body. Is there, does Pranic do it by itself, or do you need to talk to the person and bring them to an understanding?
Well, the process that I do is when I do healing on somebody, I can intuitively feel where the energy is, and I can physically feel it too with my hands, right? And spirit will show me symbols or images. They'll show me different things while I'm doing the healing, and then I can feel the energy because I'm an empath as well, psychic intuitive empath. So not only can I physically feel it, but I can energetically feel it, and then I can see it through the messages. So after I do the healing on somebody, the next part of the healing process is that I will relay back to you all of the messages or the symbolism or the energy that I felt. So that kind of starts the process of releasing. So you know what it is that you're going to be releasing. And then it could be instantaneous. Sometimes people break down in front of me and they'll start crying really hard. And I either, sit them and I sit there and I hold them while they cry, or I give them a moment to themselves so they can get it out, whatever they're more comfortable with. And they could release immediately. Otherwise, usually the second day after the healing is the most prickly, where you're going to be the most moody and the most emotional. It's usually the second day, the day after. And then I tell them to take a salt bath because salt removes negative energy. It clears energy. And then within 5 days of the healing that I do, always within 5 days, the person will have the full release, meaning they will cry it out. They will scream it out. I encourage them to scream into a pillow as loud as they can. Neighbors won't call the cops if you scream into a pillow, Otherwise, move it out. If you feel restless or like you need to move your body, you need to move your arms, I tell them to literally shake it out, move it out, exercise it out, whatever they are comfortable with. And then once that release happens, they feel physically lighter. They feel energetically lighter, to where you don't have that heaviness on the chest. You don't have all that weight on your shoulders. You don't feel weighed down. You don't feel depressed. You don't feel sad. Your mood is elevated. You physically feel better.
Wow.
Yeah. And part of that is me explaining to them what it is that I saw in their energy or what spirit wanted me to tell them. So that's kind of the catalyst. The pranic healing is what's the most effective, but it's kind of like I'm going to plant that seed, or I'm going to like onslaught that healing process so they're aware of what they're going to be releasing.
Now, do you ever get people that feel as though they have like an attachment or anything?
Oh, absolutely.
Because, attachments, being a paranormal investigator, I get an attachment. I feel sick. I feel fatigued. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When somebody has something like this that happens, how do you work with that?
Well, I will cut cords. So I'll cut all the cords that are connected to people so they don't have anything attached to them. And then I will pull out the roots of those cords, right? Disintegrate those. And then I will do the healing, and then I will shield the person's energy. So I put a bubble or a shield of protection around them so nobody can penetrate their auric field while they're going through the releasing process, unless it's deemed for their best and highest good. I always do an invocation before any healing that I ever do, before any reading that I ever do. And that will protect that person. So it removes that energy, or it removes that attachment, and then it shields them so they can heal in peace in their own energy.
Okay. So with that, it's, how do I want to say it? So someone gets an attachment or feels like they have an attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, being a psychic, you're going to figure out what is attached to them, correct?
Yeah.
So you'll know if it's something harmful or if it's just something that's just attached themselves to somebody, right, and they're not in any kind of imminent danger or anything. Correct. So when somebody asks for this kind of thing, how do you keep the attachment away?
I shield their energy. I use divine energy, and I call on, our guides to be able to shield their energy, and it protects them from being attached to, again, reattached.
Okay. So yeah, I was just curious because some people will use like crystals and things like that. But you do this almost kinetically. You do this.
Yeah, I literally will visualize it, and then I visualize it, and then I use my guides and whoever, whatever realm, to be able to protect that person's energy. So a lot of it is with intention and then with visualization that I'm able to protect them. I can use crystals too. And I use crystals for the healing as well, but it's not necessary.
So what is the thing that you use the most out of your gifts? Do you use like the psychic part more?
Well, I mean, the psychic part is kind of connected with all of it. It's
With
kind of
every-
how I get the messages. The modality that I use the most frequently is either tarot or pranic healing. It's those are both they're 50-50, like most of my clientele will either do packages that encompass all of the services or dual services. Otherwise, it's typically tarot or pranic healing. And then
Okay.
I've got mentorship mentees and whatnot.
So you can teach others how to do this kind of
Yeah, absolutely.
work. Okay, all right, perfect.
Yeah. We all have the abilities, right? We just have to tap into them or be able to understand how spirit's communicating with us.
Right. Or you'll kind of be confused like me and always overshare because I know that I have these abilities, but I'm confused by them, I believe. I try to shut things out when I shouldn't. Perhaps maybe I am trying to be communicated with spirit and I interpret it as something else. And
I feel like you just need to learn the language that spirit communicates with you in, because I have no doubt in my mind that you could do exactly what I do. I am confident in that. It's just that you have to learn how your language with spirit, right? How are they communicating with you? How did they give you messages? How do you receive those messages?
right.
Yeah.
Like some people that are experiencers with UFOs, aliens, things of that nature, they get downloads.
Mhm.
So that would be kind of the same thing. You
Yeah.
would get downloads from other spirits or these energies, and you have to interpret what they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Or like you can be a channel, like I'm a channel. So basically it's kind of like when spirit is going to relay a message, and when I do a reading, a lot of times I'll channel the message. So like my soul kind of takes a step off to the side, and then spirit will just deliver the message through me. It just kind of flows. I'm like a conduit. I'm it's like I'm present, but I'm not really there. I'm just kind of off to the side, and I allow them to use my body as a vessel to be able to communicate the message.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's almost like a seance or something. It's
Kind of.
like you can come through me and
Well, that's how you do mediumship, right?
well,
So,
that's true. That's true. But
yeah.
wouldn't does that not put you in any dangers though?
I always do an invocation before I do any spiritual work. Always. I will never do it without doing an invocation first. I always ask for help, guidance, and protection, right? And to deliver the message for the best and highest good of all parties involved.
Yeah, I mean, because that makes sense. Or you could be talking to some kind of demonic thing, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can, I mean, I can feel the difference. Like negative energy is really hot and it just feels bad. It feels negative and it feels dark. And then positive energy or, divine energy feels very light. It's very airy and it's cooler. So I can physically feel the difference. And then energetically, I can feel the difference. So I always ask for the protection just because I'm not going to let anybody enter my vessel that is negative. I don't need those kind of attachments. And I cut cords and everything, and I just spiritually protect myself, psychically protect myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever get anybody that talk about like near death experiences?
I haven't personally worked with a lot of people that have had near death experiences, but I'm very familiar with them.
I was just curious if people would come to you and say, "Hey, you know what? I had this NDE and I need help with this." Yeah, that's why I was.
Yeah, no, I haven't personally had somebody have a near death experience and talk to me about it, but I've had a lot of people have people very close to them, like partners or somebody very significant in their life that recently passed that they want to connect with. I get that a lot, but it's not, I don't think I've actually had somebody that had a near-death experience themselves that wanted some clarity. I'm open to it though. Yeah.
Have you ever had anybody ask you to help them with, let's say, a missing person?
I've had, well, not person. I haven't had like forensic people come up to me. I'm open to that as well. I've had a lot of people say, "Hey, I can't find this. Can you help me find this thing that I lost?" So I've had that. Yeah.
And I bet you that's not easy.
It's
Finding a
not too
thing.
bad, actually. Spirit will usually tell me, or I'll use the dowsing rods or a pendulum to let me know. I'll just ask like, "Oh, is it here?" And then they'll say yes or no. But I've had a lot of people ask questions about people that are not connected to them anymore and wanting to know, like, so and so, do they still think about me? I get a lot of questions like that too.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's very interesting. I feel that with what you do, people will be asking all the time, "Hey, you know what? I lost my cat. Can you tell me where it's at? Or is my cat okay?" Or, because I get that because you're a medium, people could say, "Hey, I have a loved one that I'm trying to contact, and you know, need some assistance there with a question or something."
I've had clients come out, reach out to me because they had a family member or somebody significant in their life that they have lost contact with, and they haven't heard anything. They have no idea where they are. So actually, yes, I have had people ask me about missing person. Now that I think about it, I have this specific client that I'm thinking about, asked me about their one of their parents that they kind of disappeared and didn't know what happened to them, if they were alive or if they had passed. And so I was able to connect with that parent and tell them yes, they did in fact pass, and it was on their own doing and their own will. It was intentional. Not suicide, not anything like that. I don't mean like that. Or excuse me, unaliving themselves. But it was more a situation that they kind of left intentionally. So anyways, I was able to deliver that message. So yes, I actually have.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're pretty well rounded in all this spiritual.
I feel all of the spiritual things.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long you have these? This is your business that you do as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have a regular job, but this is.
No, this is my job.
Oh, this is okay. So you solely do this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that makes it even tougher because this is your livelihood. And do you, I'm sure you get it wrong now and again. That happens. If you're telling somebody information and you get some wrong information, but don't realize it right away, but you realize it after. Is this something that happens all the time, or is it very rare that you get your signals crossed?
To be honest with you, I don't know that I've really had people come up to me and be like, "Oh, that prediction was totally wrong. That didn't end up happening." I have more people tell me, "Oh, remember when you said this? It did in fact happen. This is what happened." I have that a lot. I get messages and text messages frequently of past clients being like, "Oh, remember you said this back in like 4 or 6 months ago? It totally happened." So I get those a lot. But when I give a message, especially when I'm doing a tarot reading, tarot is based on the present energy that you're sitting in, meaning your present thoughts, your present actions, emotions, and the things that you're doing in the day to day. The outcome is based on the present energy. If you don't like the outcome, it's not set in stone. That's not how it works. So if you don't like the outcome, shift your energy to shift the outcome. And you can look at the tarot to be able, it's like a holistic tool to be able to show you where you need to shift your energy, meaning your mindset needs to shift, or your emotional feelings around the situation need to shift. The actions that you're taking need to shift. And, you look at the swords, the wands, the cups, the pentacles, to be able to show you this is where the energy needs to shift to be able to empower you to have a different outcome. So we're all sovereign beings and we have free will to decide. So I don't use tarot as a predictive, this is definitely going to happen. It's based on your present energy. This is the likely outcome. If you don't like that, do something about it. So I will have clients come back to me and say, oh, I shifted my energy, and then they'll get a reading again, and then I'll give them a different outcome. So that does happen. And then I get to watch that story play out because they shifted timelines ultimately because they made different decisions.
Does the tarot cards and astrology, do they coexist? Do they connect?
Yeah,
Or not?
absolutely. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just, it's basically a different tool to get the same energy. It's just
Okay.
a different tool.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were used in conjunction or not.
A
Or
lot of, sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say I have a lot of clients that will do the package. It's called the Psychic Intuitive Channeling, and it combines tarot and astrology, which a lot of times, I mean, it's the same, it's similar information, right? So astrology will give you like the broader perspective of what's going on, and then tarot kind of gives you the details. So when you want like a really informed, fine-tuned clarity on a situation, then it's a good opportunity to use the dual service, right? And that a lot of clients get that.
Okay. All right. So that's when you would complete someone's birth chart or something, correct?
Yeah.
Because you need to get in depth with what is going on in their life. Okay. All right. Perfect. I thought so. I just wasn't sure. It's very confusing to me, the tarot cards and the astrology. I am so very much interested in all that. It is a lot to remember. You have to remember so much.
Well, it's kind of, if you look at it like this, tarot, astrology, pranic healing, mediumship, all of these are different languages. So let's say tarot is English and astrology is Spanish and pranic healing is French, just examples of different languages. They're all languages. They're all communication tools. It's just, how do you deliver that message? You're going to use the tool that's going to speak to that audience so that audience can understand. So whereas some people might need it in English, some people might need it in Spanish, some people might need it in German, like whatever the language is. It's just but it's all the same thing. They're all communication, they're all languages. It's just, which one do you need?
Right.
Or which one do you understand,
So that's probably why I didn't get into any of those, because I can barely even speak English. so learning a different language is just not in my it's not in my deck of cards.
Yeah.
Unless they're swear words, then I can pick those ones up.
Absolutely. The important ones.
That's right. What is the oracle? What does that conjunction, is that like pretty much the same as a tarot card reading?
Oh, it's very similar. So for example, I'm going to show you tarot cards. So
nice.
I have this set of tarot cards right here. This is a Radiant Rider Waite. So we have the Knight of Cups. We have the King of Cups. We have the Justice. Justice is major arcana. The cups are minor arcana. Then we have the Wands, 6 of Wands, so minor arcana. So tarot is the 78 cards of the major arcana and the minor arcana. They're always the same. And
so what does arcana mean?
Arcana is it's the classification of the type of card that it is. So major arcana are like life situations and circumstances that are like different archetypes. They're situations that are inevitable or they're destined to happen. Minor arcana is more like the human paradigms, the things that we experience and go through. It's our thoughts, emotions, actions, finances, those sort of things. So the tarot is always those 78 cards. They will always be the same cards. It's just a different picture. So like this is the Biddy Tarot, for example. This is the Hanged Man. This is the 6 of Pentacles, 7 of Cups. So you can see that the cards are similar, but the imagery is a little bit different, right? Just based on the artist. Another deck of cards that I've got right here, right in front of me. So this is another tarot deck. You have the 2 of Swords. You have the Page of Swords. You have the 3 of Wands. The imagery is a little bit different, right? But it's all the same foundational cards. Oracle, on the other hand, is more like, it's more open and it's more topic based. So it's not the same types of cards. They vary. Here's an Oracle deck. This is Spellcaster. So we have Strength. We have Lighten Your Load. we have forgiveness. Or another oracle deck, we have the Kipper deck. This is a really common one that I use. These are all common ones that I use a lot. So we have mature man, we have unexpected income, we have bad health, we have main woman or main female. So it's like if I wanted to clarify the message, or I wanted to know, tell me a little bit more, tell me the overall theme of the reading. It could be well-being. Well, tell me, who is the person involved? It could be the mature man, right? So the mature man is typically the husband in like a cheating scenario, or an older, wiser man. Main female is typically if it's a female getting a reading, is typically that person. It's the main significator.
No, it wouldn't be a wiser man if they were cheating.
True that.
I'm sorry, I had to say that.
No, it was good. So yeah, the oracle is more like, I use it for clarification. It's broader and it can be subject based. So I have astrology cards, I have messages from your higher self, I have the Kipper deck, which basically tells you like the subject. It's kind of, that's the basis of what it is. Subject versus the same traditional cards.
Okay. So let's do a scenario here.
Sure.
Let's say somebody wants to know how their day is going to be.
Okay.
How do you determine that out of some cards?
Well, so Spirit, tell me, how is Todd's day going to be today? How is his evening going to go? Tell me how his evening is going to go. Is that okay?
I don't mind.
Okay. So the card that fell out is the Eight of Cups. So the Eight of Cups is when you're walking away from something that is no longer emotionally fulfilling, right? It's walking away from something that's no longer emotionally fulfilling, or something is being eclipsed out of your life. So that could be a person, that could be a situation, that could be a place. And then the overall energy influencing the reading is the Four of Pentacles. So the overall energy influencing what you're walking away from is in an effort to protect yourself, to protect your security, to protect your assets, to protect self, right? So the rest of your evening is going to be out of self-preservation. You're going to be walking away from something that's not fulfilling to you anymore.
Okay.
So I would basically look at the cards, and I know what the meanings of the cards are. And then I can intuitively feel like what it is. So it's like, if you're working on a project, just random, you're working on a project and you kind of don't really know if you want to keep doing that, or it's just kind of like, I'm putting in a lot of work and it's not really like going anywhere. So I don't want to do this anymore. It's kind of like that. Like, okay, I'm choosing to end this.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking about my book.
There you go.
The overwhelming, I bring myself into PTSD and anxiety and depression, but just doing it. So
right. So you're considering walking away from the book in an effort to protect yourself, to protect your health, to protect your well-being, right? So you could walk away. You could no longer do the project. Aries is great starters. They are not the best finishers. If it takes a long time, or it gets challenging, or you get bored with it, you might want to walk away. But I would ask you to, I would pose the thought of stepping away momentarily and going back to it at a later time when you're in a space that emotionally feels right for that.
And I think that's why I do smaller chunks, like a chapter at a time, because I can just do the chapters of anything that I feel, and then I can put it in the book later.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can always go back to it later. It's just, there's not really a time restraint on when you need to get the book finished by, right? So do it in divine timing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that tells me what I was feeling with that, I guess.
Yep. Thank you, Cheryl.
Because I have, in my Google Docs, I have 6 million pages in there of random nonsense, because I start one thing and of course go to another. It's like I can't finish anything. Just
that's
like
Aries energy for sure.
Yeah. I'm definitely good at starting tons of stuff.
Yeah.
Or instead of oversharing, I overanalyze.
Well, but see, you're the leader. Remember, you're the innovator, you're the pioneer, you're the trailblazer, you're the one that's supposed to have the great idea, that forms the great idea, that initiates, because you're a cardinal sign, you're initiating. But you need to have a team to be able to finish off the project.
Yes, I definitely make a great supervisor. You know, it's funny because when my dad, him and his brothers, they had a business and they did roofing and remodeling, and I learned all that, and I used a lot of that for paranormal investigations. Uh, for example, how water heaters work and how the black iron pipes, if there's air in them, they'll bang. So if people say, "Hey, did you hear that bang?" you can rule things out. Just like if your windows creak or your door opens by itself or closes by itself, that could be the expansion or contraction of the house, and that is what's causing that. Even though paranormal investigators don't want to hear that stuff, because as soon as you tell them that, it just ruins their bubble, because most think that everything is a ghost, and it's pathetic, really.
Well, but see, that's how you're an honest person. So it's good to be able to rule out all of those things that are like, well, yeah, this was like it's literally physics that's doing this versus an anomaly, you know?
Right.
So
And if you get to the point where, hey, you have examined everything and that bang is still present, then yes, now you can start looking at the paranormal aspect of it. There's so much there's so much in the paranormal that really frustrates me, but that's just how it is. It's the same with UFOs, ghosts, aliens, everything. In fact, it's probably even in your field as well, where it just gets, you have to be accountable and you have to be truthful.
Absolutely.
Because if someone finds out that you're not, that's it. It's over.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all about having integrity, right? And you should
right.
question things. You shouldn't just blindly believe them. That's
exactly.
Yes. You're being a follower at that point, right? You want to actually be informed. And if you can rule out all these possibilities and you're answering with integrity, it just proves your validity that much more.
Yes, because blind believing is horrible. Mm-hmm. It's like confirmation bias. It's horrible.
But it's what a lot of people do. Look at politics. We won't get into politics, but
you are so right.
I know.
Yes, and that's true. It's true with pretty much everything. So if you have honor and integrity and things of that nature, which definitely does not help you in any field, especially on social media, because everybody has become rude and ignorant towards others. So especially if you know a lot and they don't, it's crazy. Yeah. So, but anyway, I got off topic again.
Okay.
Are you all right? You got something going on there?
Yeah, my nanny actually needs to leave. She just came up here to let me know. She sent me a text message a minute ago, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're fine. I just was making sure. I'm like, was she seeing ghosts or something?
No, it was an actual real life person.
So, but yes. Now, in this business that you do, I would imagine because I didn't talk about we talked a little bit about chakras and how to align things. And then we started talking about pranic healing. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to come back to the Reiki, however you say it.
Reiki, yeah.
Because they both seem very similar. Mm-hmm. But one seems to be different. How do you say it?
Reiki or pranic healing?
Reiki seems to be different. And I'm not exactly sure why. And I was just going to ask you if you could explain why that looks so different when somebody is doing that type of work to somebody.
Well, the way that I look at it is Reiki redistributes the energy that's already in the body, but it remains in the body. Pranic healing will literally remove.
Okay. I was gonna say, because I know that they seem very similar, but they look different. So as it's doing, so yes, so Pranic removes the bad,
Yeah.
and the other does not.
It basically redistributes the energy to remove blockages or clear blockages, whereas pranic healing will actually remove the energy to be able to clear the blockage. So it's not still in the vessel, it's actually released.
Okay, all right. So, but the pranic healing seems like it's definitely way better for somebody.
I personally feel like it's more effective.
Yes, because you're taking the problem away. You're not redistributing anything. You are completely removing it.
Correct.
So yes, no, perfect. I just wasn't sure how those two seem so similar, but were so different. So no, that's awesome. What do you think that? What do you think is our future? Looking at how things are, I'm curious to what you think with this 3-eye atlas and all these things that are happening that are very traumatic, weather patterns and fires and I know there's something to this, whether it's thought forms or something is happening and making all these things happen.
Well, I mean, the way that I look at it, I don't get into a lot of that too much, but the way that I look at it based on the astrology is it shows that it is very likely that there could be a war that happens in the next few months, just based on the movement of Neptune and Saturn into Aries. So whereas Pisces is more like surrender and it's very spiritually connected, Aries is more like leadership, it's pioneering, but it's also ruled by Mars, so it's war. So it's common. I would say not necessarily common, but I would say that based on the shifting that's happening energetically on the planet and in the astrology, is that it's very likely that we're going to be moving away from the way that we've been doing things, you know, societally and government wise. And then it's going to move into people being more assertive, trying to implement their goals. And it can be a little bit more self-serving as well, as people try to fight for what is best for society in their views.
And with all this tension that's happening between politics and wars and all this other stuff, that negative energy really affects like everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it, you can feel it, and if you are like us that have you're an empath, I mean, oh my gosh, it's like a never-ending battle with yourself as well, because you're feeling all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's where, you know, you need to do the self-care and whatnot. It's very important to self-care. And then a lot of times people that are very spiritual or very empathic will kind of like close off or like remove themselves from the situation as they kind of, you know, live more off the grid lifestyles or more outside of the society.
Do you think that is going to be me? The only thing I see in the future is like a zombie apocalypse. That's what I see. I see videos. They pop up. I don't know why, but I'll see these videos pop up, and they are people that are on some kind of drugs, and they're walking like zombies. They're flopping around on the ground, crawling. I'm like, what is going on with the
Surround
world?
your house with treadmills. They'll never be able to get in. They'll just keep going.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Why didn't they do that on The Walking Dead, I wonder?
I don't know. They did it in The Simpsons, though.
Did they? How did I miss that one?
Sorry about that. Nanny needs to leave, so she's going to head out.
You are okay. We can wrap up if you need.
Yeah, I don't want to necessarily leave my kids unattended. They're pretty little. They're 7 and 8. So
Okay, yeah, no worries. Well, Jules, I thank you so much. I could talk to you forever because I have all these questions and they come out sporadically because my brain just won't put them all together. But the work that you do it's incredible.
well, thank you.
You help people so much. People that they don't know what to do. They don't know who to turn to. But there you are, that beacon, that light for somebody. You're calling them. You're saying, hey, look, I can help you. I can help you through your storm or whatever it may be that you have going on, that you can help with that. And that's incredible because a lot of people nowadays seem like they turn a blind eye to everybody. If someone's really struggling mentally, maybe they're going through deaths or what have you in the families, people, they're not there to help anymore. Now they're there to whip out a cell phone to take pictures of the sorrow and the pain, but not to help. And that's where you shine, because you use these gifts that you have and you make a difference in other people's lives.
Oh, thank you. I love what I do. I really do.
Yes, and it shows. I am a follower of your page. Your page. What is the name of your page?
It's mysticalguidancebyjules.com. Or you can find me as Julie Rowland on Facebook.
Nice. Yes, everybody, go flood her page because she has awesome content on there. You will not be disappointed. But Jules, I thank you again so much. I had a wonderful time talking to you, and I hope to have you back on. Maybe I could get one of my other hosts to come on with me, and we can really make it a very special show.
I would love that. Always good to talk to you, Todd. Thank you for inviting me on the show again.
All right. You have a wonderful evening, and I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Right. Bye-bye now. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow to receive notifications when new content is made available. A Paranomaly Beyond Disclosure is looking to talk with ufologists, researchers, investigators, contactees, abductees, channelers, and more for upcoming shows. Or if you have stories, photos, videos, questions, suggestions, or comments, please contact us through Messenger or email us at paranomalypodcast@gmail.com. And you can also visit us at paranomalypodcast.com for more content and information, including all our social links. I thank you again for watching or listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode of Paranomaly Beyond Disclosure.